What if I told you that the very seafood you've trusted for decades as healthy could secretly be destroying your brain, crippling your heart, and speeding up aging at a rate you never imagined? Millions of seniors across America and Europe sit down to seafood dinners each week, believing they're making the right choice for longevity. Yet behind the marketing slogans, the glossy menus, and the health claims lies a hidden danger, one that almost no doctor will ever warn you about. The truth is shocking, and the evidence is undeniable. Some of the most common seafoods consumed daily are loaded with toxins, heavy metals, and hidden chemicals that can trigger everything from brain fog to heart failure. What's worse, 99% of seniors have no idea they're eating foods that could rob them of their independence in just a matter of years. But the story doesn't end there. Because while certain seafoods are silent killers, others are nature's most powerful medicine. Imagine reversing memory loss, soothing arthritis, lowering blood pressure, and even regaining the energy you thought was gone forever, simply by making the right seafood choices. It sounds almost unbelievable, but groundbreaking. Studies from institutions like Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and Tokyo University are proving it's real. For the first time, you're about to see both sides of the truth. The 4 seafoods you must avoid at all costs if you're over 60, and the 4 you should embrace like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. So let me ask you 2 simple questions before we begin. Have you ever noticed strange fatigue, brain fog, or joint pain after eating seafood? And has your doctor ever tested your mercury or toxin levels? If you answered no, you're not alone. Most doctors don't even run these tests, and most people never connect their symptoms to what's on their plate. But today, we're going to connect the dots. You'll understand why so many seniors are unknowingly poisoning themselves, and how a simple shift can mean the difference between decline and renewal. Now, picture this. You're sitting at a restaurant, and the waiter proudly sets down a plate of raw oysters. They look fresh, glistening, delicious. But hidden inside is a danger so lethal it can kill within 48 hours. Oysters harvested from warm coastal waters are breeding grounds for Vibrio bacteria, a flesh-eating microbe that has been quietly spreading as oceans heat up. The CDC reports that 80% of Vibrio-related deaths occur in people over 60. Why? Because our immune systems weaken dramatically with age. After 60, your T cells and B cells, your immune soldiers, are barely half as strong as they were in your youth. So while a younger person may recover from exposure, seniors often don't get a second chance. And bacteria aren't the only problem. A single serving of oysters from popular harvesting areas contains an average of 90 microplastic particles, tiny invaders that lodge in your intestines, releasing endocrine disruptors linked to cancer and premature aging. That innocent oyster appetizer can become a cocktail of slow destruction. But here's where most people make a tragic mistake. They assume oysters must be avoided entirely. The truth is, when cooked properly, oysters transform from killers to healers. Cooking them at the right temperature eliminates dangerous bacteria while preserving their zinc, B12, and omega-3s, the very nutrients your aging brain and immune system are starving for. Swap the raw oyster bar for grilled or baked oysters with lemon and herbs, and you'll not only dodge danger, you'll supercharge your body's defenses. Now let's move to another so-called delicacy that turns deadly as you age: king crab. These enormous crustaceans look like royalty on a dinner plate, but their regal image hides a toxic crown of mercury and sodium. Independent testing shows that king crab contains nearly triple the mercury levels once reported. Just under the FDA's danger threshold, these levels are enough to cross the blood-brain barrier and sabotage your neurons, accelerating memory loss and motor decline. In one long-term study, seniors with high mercury exposure experienced cognitive decline, almost 50% faster than those with low exposure. Pair that with a sodium load of 1,500 milligrams per serving, nearly 2/3 of your daily limit, and you've got a disaster for anyone managing blood pressure, heart conditions, or medications. The consequences can be devastating. I once treated a 68-year-old engineer who loved his weekly all-you-can-eat crab feasts. Within months, he developed tremors, memory lapses, and frequent falls. Tests revealed his mercury levels were triple the safe limit. When he stopped eating king crab, his symptoms slowly reversed. It was a miracle, but also a warning. If you crave the taste, there are safer swaps: Dungeness crab, blue crab, or even imitation crab made from pollock. They provide the same satisfaction, without the toxic overload. But perhaps the biggest wolf in shrimp's clothing is the imported farmed shrimp that floods supermarket freezers. Shrimp should be one of the healthiest proteins in the sea, low in fat, rich in antioxidants like astaxanthin, but the reality of farmed imports is horrifying. To keep disease at bay in overcrowded ponds, shrimp farmers pump them with antibiotics banned in the US decades ago. Those antibiotics remain in the shrimp, and when you eat them, your liver and kidneys, already slowing down with age, struggle to detoxify. One study found 74% of imported shrimp carried residues of these dangerous drugs. And that's not all. To make shrimp look plump and fresh, they're treated with sodium tripolyphosphate, a chemical that causes dangerous water retention and blood pressure spikes in older adults. For seniors on hypertension meds, it's a recipe for disaster. The fix? Always check labels and country of origin. Skip shrimp from Southeast Asia unless certified organic. Choose wild caught from the Gulf of Mexico or the Pacific Northwest. Yes, it costs more, but your heart and kidneys are worth it. If that's out of reach, consider salmon or sardines, both rich in the same nutrients without the chemical risks. Finally, let's uncover the lobster myth. Marketed as a luxury superfood, lobster is in fact the most dangerous choice for older adults. With cholesterol levels higher than almost any seafood, lobster puts immediate strain on arteries and heart health. But cholesterol is only the tip of the iceberg. Lobsters are bottom feeders, vacuuming up every toxic heavy metal that settles on the ocean floor: arsenic, cadmium, lead. Studies show that over 90% of tested lobsters exceed safe cadmium levels, a metal that damages kidneys and bones. Add the stress hormones released as lobsters languish in tanks for weeks before cooking, and you're ingesting a stew of inflammatory compounds with every bite. I'll never forget Dorothy, a 71-year-old retiree who thought she was treating herself to lobster rolls twice a week. Within months, she developed crippling arthritis, soaring cholesterol, and cadmium toxicity that nearly destroyed her kidneys. When she gave up lobster, her pain eased, her inflammation dropped, and her health returned. The lesson is clear. After 60, no amount of lobster is safe. If you miss the flavor, there are plant-based alternatives like hearts of palm or lobster mushrooms that mimic the taste without the toxins. So now you know the 4 worst seafood seniors must avoid. But let's not stop at the bad news, because the ocean also hides some of the most extraordinary healing foods on Earth. And when chosen wisely, seafood can actually help reverse aging, sharpen your mind, and strengthen your heart. Take calamari. For example, forget the fried rings drowning in oil. Properly prepared squid is a nutritional powerhouse. It's rich in taurine, a compound so protective of the heart and brain that researchers in Okinawa, home to some of the world's longest-living people, found that squid eaters had dramatically lower rates of heart disease and dementia. With lean protein, essential minerals like copper and selenium, and a cooking method as simple as a quick sauté or grill, calamari becomes a rejuvenating food for seniors. I once worked with a 65-year-old retired nurse who suffered from fatigue and irregular heartbeats. Adding grilled calamari to her weekly routine restored her energy and calmed her heart rhythms within weeks. Or consider mussels, often overlooked, but secretly one of the most medicinal seafoods available, particularly the New Zealand green-lipped. Variety: mussels contain unique omega-3s up to 150 times more effective than fish oil at reducing inflammation. They're packed with vitamin B12 for energy and cognition, iron for oxygen transport, and compounds that literally help rebuild cartilage and joints. Seniors with arthritis who added mussels to their diet reported dramatic reductions in pain and stiffness, with mobility returning in as little as 3 months. Steam them lightly with herbs and garlic, and you'll get more benefit than most expensive supplements. And let's revisit oysters, but this time cooked. Far from being dangerous, properly prepared oysters are a treasure trove of zinc, the master mineral for DNA repair and cellular rejuvenation. Zinc deficiencies are rampant among seniors, leading to weak immunity, memory decline, and even faster cellular aging. Cooked oysters deliver zinc in unmatched amounts, along with bioavailable vitamin D3 that supports bones, mood, and immunity. One retired teacher I worked with, suffering early cognitive decline, saw her memory sharpen and brain activity increase after just weeks of adding grilled oysters to her meals. But the true crown jewel of longevity seafood is sea urchin, known as uni in Japan. Rare, expensive, and unusual, it contains unique phospholipids called plasmalogens that literally repair aging brain cells. Harvard and Tokyo University studies show that seniors who eat sea urchin have Alzheimer's rates up to 70% lower than those who don't. On top of that, sea urchin provides iodine in a form your body absorbs almost completely, fueling thyroid, health, metabolism, and energy. Seniors deficient in iodine often feel sluggish, foggy, and weak. Adding sea urchin can restore vitality so profoundly that some patients report feeling decades younger within months. I've seen it firsthand. A 73-year-old man on the verge of dementia regained his energy, mental clarity, and even thyroid function after just 6 months of eating fresh sea urchin twice a week. Today, he consults part-time again and feels sharper than he did at 60. So, there you have it. 4 seafoods that accelerate aging, weaken your brain, and wreck your heart. And 4 that can restore vitality, reverse decline, and unlock energy you thought was gone forever. The difference between sickness and health, between decline and renewal, could be as simple as choosing wisely at the seafood counter. The choice is yours. Eat what the industry sells you and suffer in silence, or harness the ocean's true healing gifts and thrive well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Now I'll ask you again. What seafood do you eat the most? Have you noticed symptoms that could be tied to these hidden dangers? Share your answers, because your story could help someone else avoid a lifetime of pain. And if you're ready to embrace the healing side of the ocean, start today. Your body, your brain, and your future self will thank you.